You chose absolutely right tuning into Rwanda Television News tonight. Greetings to you from wherever you are joining us from. This is what makes our top stories tonight. Prosecutors have asked for Twahirwa to be imprisoned for life, while Basabose remained behind the bars for 25 years. The private sector in Rwanda is urged to enhance capacity building among employees and providing contracts for an efficient production. We are very glad to have your company. As we start off tonight's edition, let us inform you that following the genocide perpetrators Serafin Twahirwa and Pierre Basabose are being found guilty of the crimes they were accused of, prosecutors have asked for Twahirwa to be imprisoned for life while Basabose remained behind the bars for 25 years. Following the concerns raised by Basabose's defense team over his health and claims that he is unfit to serve a time in prison because of diabetes he suffered from, prosecutors called for him to be confined to interment that includes doctors to care for him. Twahirwa's lawyers declared that he has no confidence in court due to what he claims is its partiality and would appeal the ruling until his client got what he called the justice he deserves. The trial is taking place in Brussels. And moving ahead, we clocked on it on the headlines. A private sector in Rwanda is urged to enhance capacity building among employees and providing contracts for an efficient production. These were said as the Private Sector Federation held discussions with its members and some of the public institutions. Prince Manzi brings us the details.
Some of the entrepreneurs tackle on various challenges hindering their daily activities that need to be addressed.
Because the private sector companies, what you can observe, they are interdependent. One depends on the other. So you find those in manufacturing, those in ICT, those in all the sectors across. You may find like actually everyone depends on the banking, the financial ecosystem. So one of the things to strengthen the private sector will be to reduce the gap and to strengthen that collaboration between the government so that the advocacy is loud and clear.
The Director of Labour Research and Deployment Promotion at the Ministry of Public Service and Labour, Faustin Ngambari, states that the private sector covers 94% of the employment in the country, hence the necessity to create an effective environment for production.
But also to create a kind of collective bargaining agreements. Because in collective bargaining agreements, there is an employer who is benefiting and employees who are benefiting, and this increases production. And once the production increases, it also impacts on increasing the more jobs again. We also recommend the private sector to continue playing its role in making the jobs more decent, by providing, benefits to those in the working environment, social security, having employment contract, and others, because a healthier and happier employee contribute more. And once they get all those decent work indicators complied with, they contribute also to the productivity of the employer, and then the national productivity.
Ngambari states that the private sector should play part in providing internships to scholars. The acting chairperson of the Private Sector Federation, Jean-François Mobilidi, elaborates that having such discussions is also a way of analyzing challenges in the way for having a private sector that works together to achieve the country's aim.
The wish is to have an economic development based on the private sector. And this mission is only possible if the representation of the private sector is well coordinated and serves and build the capacity of the companies that are there. But also represent them as one voice, a voice that can advocate for the different challenges they meet, but also advocate for any other initiatives that they think may serve them better for them to grow and scale up what they are doing today.
In the NST1 goals, the government aimed at creating 200,000 decent jobs annually, but the COVID-19 pandemic hindered the achievement, as in 2019, 223,000 jobs were created, but only 189,000 jobs were created in 2022. With a fast-growing economy, there is hope for a recovery, but it all requires a stable private sector. Prince Manzi, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Prince, for the report. From the private sector to security matters, the Rwanda Defense Force, RDF, graduated a new intake of a Special Operation Force after completing a 10-month specialized combat training course at National Basic Military Training Center in Kirehe District. The ceremony was officiated by the RDF Chief of Defense Staff, General Mubarak Muganga, on behalf of the Commander-in-Chief, His Excellency President Paul Kagame. The CDS congratulated the Special Forces for upgrading the level of training and welcomed the graduates into the Special Force unit. He also thanked instructors for their role in shaping the trainees. He said, I quote, "You have undergone significant training as demonstrated here. The skills acquired will enhance your performance. You need to prioritize discipline before everything. We are an army that values discipline, ethics, and value," he told the graduates. The ceremony was also attended by the RDF senior commanders, including generals and senior officials. And moving ahead, it's the festive season, and relating to this, Kigali city residents and merchants alike have been noting that this year's festive season will be much better than the last because of the way food prices have significantly reduced. This as preparations for Christmas and New Year's Day continue. Due to higher agricultural yields and bigger food supplies, the prices have remained low despite increased demand during the holiday season. Kigali city authorities, meanwhile, are warning traders against the bad habit of artificially inflating up prices and are trying to take advantage of the holiday season, creating unnecessary burden for the general public. In the past few months, some of the food commodities like beans, potatoes, rice, cooking oil, sugar, and beef have become expensive. Many people have had opted to simply not buy some of them. The lowered prices due to increased productivity from the agriculture sector have helped to change the situation significantly. Still on the festive season, as it approaches, individuals embarking on journeys to reunite with their loved ones have already commenced their trips homeward. Many share the sentiment that the joyous occasions call for special gestures and efforts to make the most out of the celebration with their families in particular. We do have the details with Olive Nete.
At Nyabugogo bus station, there is a lot of movement of people. Some are leaving or coming to Kigali city, and others are leaving for the provinces to enjoy the festive season with their families. They say that they decided to leave a little bit before the actual festive days in order to avoid crowds and potential transport challenges. Some of them have purchased various things to bring to their families so as to enjoy and share with friends during this period.
I am leaving for Nyamasheke to celebrate these holiday seasons with my family. I decided to leave a bit before since students are also about to go to holidays.
We are leaving before to avoid meeting various challenges such as bus shortage since students are about to come for holidays as well. I'm bringing milk, beans, and so many other stuff. I'm also bringing love. The mayor of Kigali City, Dusengiyumva Samuel, appreciates the fact that people are planning for their trips ahead of time, encouraging the residents to plan to celebrate Christmas and New Year within Kigali and even in the province. He also assures them that there will be no transport shortage.
Normally, trips are planned ahead, most especially these days. Companies have contact lines that you may reach to and reserve ahead of time. As people develop, they have also to organize their things, and as you can't just wake up and go take a plane, that is how you should also plan ahead for your voyage with a bus. Since they also leave according to certain hours, a person should sit and organize when to leave, since this also helps transport companies to carry out their responsibility as well. But I would also like to reassure people that we took measures together with those institutions so that whoever may be traveling would get a bus, and whenever there may arise a problem, we are ready to solve it.
The year-end and New Year festivals for 2023-2024 are organized with the addition of new buses to minimize passenger wait times. Extended service hours are implemented for bars, hotels, restaurants, and entertainment venues. Olive Nete, RTV News.
Thank you, Olive, for the report, and we will transition it to environmental conservation matters. Investors in the carbon market are increasingly turning their attention to Rwanda, where they are entering agreements with forest owners to support the preservation of these vital ecosystems. Under these agreements, investors commit to compensating forest owners, providing them with a share of proceeds generated from the absorption of carbon emissions by their forests.
A carbon credit, also known as carbon offset, is a kind of permit that represents 1 ton of carbon dioxide removed from the atmosphere. Carbon credits allow the owner to emit a certain amount of carbon dioxide or other greenhouse gases. They can be purchased by an individual or a company to make up for carbon dioxide emissions that come from industrial production. Carbon credit allows a country or organization to produce a certain amount of carbon emissions which can be traded. According to global management consulting firm McKinsey, demand for carbon credits could increase by 15 or more by 2030 and be a factor of up to 100 by 2050. Overall, the carbon market credits could be worth upward of $50 billion by 2030. Rwanda launched its carbon market framework during the UN Climate Change Conference, also known as COP28. Adam Bradford, a British investor, reiterated that he was attracted by Rwanda's accountable leadership.
So we originally discovered Rwanda through the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting last year. And for the past year and a half, we've been doing feasibility and research to look at the market here. Rwanda just recently launched its carbon trading framework at COP28, which is really encouraging because for us as a business, we want to help countries that are not yet trading in the carbon market fully to realize their full potential. We also care about social impact, so we want to be able to give back to the communities where we work, help local citizens to improve their livelihoods, and we just felt that due to the leadership and the vision of Rwanda that this was a very good place to do it.
Some of those who own forests in Rwanda applaud the initiative. I plant trees because I love nature in general. I have 100 hectares of trees. The initiative is very good. They are most welcome here in Rwanda. We received it very well. The fact that citizens will be paid for planting trees is mind-blowing. The Rwanda Forestry Authority reiterated that prices will be regulated in favor of citizens. Prices will be regulated well because they have to match the prices on the international markets, be it for an individual or a company. We have to be there to make sure that citizens are protected and not manipulated. We have a mandate to make sure that citizens get profits, but also ensure that the environment is protected. The forests across the African continent possess the capacity to absorb and store an imperative 600 million tons of carbon. However, it is noteworthy that the current carbon footprint of the continent is merely 2%, indicating a significant gap in the potential carbon sequestration of the forests and the actual emissions produced. Short-term agreements should be made to act as a model of what can be done and how it can be done. Reason being, countries might be tempted to emit more gases in the air simply because they are able to finance it. We should also have experts in carbon trading. The community owns 70% of all forests in Rwanda, and the remaining 30% of the state's forests are yet to be privatized. By June 2024, 80% of the state's owned forests will be privatized from the current 66%. The area of public and private forests is one of the 2 million hectares that the country has pledged to conserve by 2030. In total, Africa emits 4% of greenhouse gases, while Rwanda's gas emissions stands at 0.03%.
And that's all from us here at RB's Rwanda Television News. On behalf of the entire news production, as well as the technical team, many thanks for being with us. Up until next time, stay safe and have a great evening as you continue enjoying your festive holidays. Goodbye.